Okay, so Melty Blood Type Lumina released, what, a week ago now? And TLDW for this video, I've been having a blast. This video, I want to talk about my experience and my thoughts on the game since its release. Package-wise, it doesn't really push the envelope too much for single-player content, but I think I can say it is an improved experience and evolution of what Uni offers. A variety of single-player modes, including like a boss rush mode. I thought that was pretty cool. Mission mode tutorials are a little bit less wordy, and it feels like there's a little bit less fat than what Uni had. Remember, that was a key complaint I think a lot of people had about Uni was it's too much information. I think that's batshit crazy, but the way it was, I think it definitely catered to a specific kind of learner. This game, though, it feels a little bit more trim. It feels like it's not too long, but just right. Although it doesn't push the envelope, it's a pretty satisfactory modern standard so far, I think. Training mode is solid with the exception of missing frame data. Things like the color editor is a really creative plus that, even with its limitations, which I'll talk about in a little while, or in another video rather, that kind of thing scratches an itch that I haven't had really since KOF 13 or Street Fighter Cross Tekken, The music doesn't have as many hits as I'd say as old Melty, but Raito is still a monster. He still put together some bangers for this one that I'm just like, man. My personal favorites, I can tell you right off the top of my head, is like Tomorrow's Collapse, Red Sprout and Memories. There's like 3 or 4 that I think are really, really strong. That said, I really hope they add a jukebox function where we can select what tracks we want to hear, and I hope that they add the entire back catalog of Melty Blood soundtrack. We need the old bangers too, man. That's the thing. Raito, please add the old music. We need next update. We need old music, please. Anyway, there were some early issues with PC matchmaking that it seems to have affected a lot of people. But for me personally, since they put the patches out the initial day or two, after those first 2 patches, it's been like butter for me, man. It's been very good. I've been able to play with a lot of different people from a lot of different places in the world. America, East Coast, America, West Coast, Canada, Europe, Russia, Mexico, Argentina. And the thing is, the net play quality for me, it never fell off. It's been fine the whole time. There's a bug that can occur, I think, that really comes up with, I think, most often with skipping intros. This has happened to me maybe like 4 or 5 matches out of like 400. Stuff like that is why I think one of the big takeaways that you have to have with this game is that from now on, I think JP developers need to put a lot stronger effort on their PC ports, and they need to have a beta. Some of this stuff, I have to imagine, if they would have just had a weekend beta, we could have figured all this stuff out. They would have had the data, and by release, they're cooking, This is definitely something that I've been thinking about a lot more lately. Better attention towards PC release, and then having betas to be able to find these bugs like this before the game comes out, I think would do really, really well for some of these packages. That said, one of the most refreshing things about this game is how fast I am able to get into matches, and then the fact that the game just feeds me matches after. It doesn't give you a chance to say no. I don't have to go to this MapleStory lobby bullshit. I don't have to load up into an overworld map and travel to a corner of the fake city with the NPC monks that aren't even real characters to boot up training mode. It's nothing like that, man. It's just sick menu based. Here, you want to play? Go to this play, and they just give you matches. And that's one reason why I kind of just been sitting out just kind of playing, dude. I've been sat down, I was like, yo, I'm going to play for 30 minutes, 6 hours passed. I was like, damn, all right, cool. So if you want to play, you just boot up and the game will let you play. Gameplay-wise, the game feels a bit more like a streamlined Uni with some dank. It's weird. It's like it has concepts from a few other games mixed in, but I think it's still made to be very easy to jump into. It's not exactly. I wasn't going into this game expecting a Melty Blood 2, but I was expecting something like an in-between old Melty and Undernight, because that's, reflective of what their kind of design philosophies are in the modern era, right? The result is something that is a little bit further, I'd say a little bit skewed more towards the Uni side than what I was initially expecting. It's more like a new original French break game, to be honest with you, that draws various aspects from their previous projects like Dengeki, Undernight, and Melty. But it has that Melty movement is the thing. So far, that's the biggest draw for me. Hook and God came to the stream the other day and he was like, DBFZ movement is goated. And at that time, I was like, yeah, sure, I guess. But then I think about like Marvel 2, Marvel 3, Melee, Guilty Gear Up the Strive, Melty. I think I agree with him among modern games, but at least until this game, I think. It just feels so good to just move around. That said, I do have one complaint. super jump in this game, it only lets you super jump forward. I think it would be really good. This is just kind of naturally restrictive. I would like it if you could be able to super jump backwards, neutral. That would open up the movement even more so than it already is. You know, overall the gameplay I think has a lot of modern sensibilities that help new players jump in. It's very easy to kind of half-ass this game and not lab. You can kind of just hop in and rely on auto combos. In fact, I've been doing just that. I have not really like learned real combos yet, and people are coming up with some nasty shit. But it's fun just to move around and play even on surface level and just like, okay, you know, come with like very stale offense and be able to find your hits and then just, okay, auto combo time. Now I'm like, yeah, now block me, you know, that kind of thing. Even on surface level, it nails a certain feeling that I haven't felt in a while from a new fighting game. You know, that said, I do have some issues. The first one is that I guess most people have been looking at the shield system and how it creates that RPS situation. I've compared this system to Blitz Shield from the Exert series in the past, but it's a bit less. It's a bit less baked than that, I guess is what I would say. It's like a little bit more half-baked, I would say. I personally don't mind the system and the RPS itself, aside from low shield catching mids. That's kind of questionable. I think what hurts it is how the system is tied to moon gauge, but it lacks that complete cohesion to it that titles like Under Night successfully did with the grid system. I think shield should cost moon gauge to do, and maybe give back some if it's successful. Similar, like you know, that kind of, in a way to where it plays into your moon gauge even more so than it already does. Already, it does affect your recovery time, how much moon gauge you have when you do shield, but I'm thinking maybe if it would be interesting if it was tied to that system even more, and then maybe if there was another option from shield that cost moon meter. Maybe if there was one, so like maybe if there's an option that's an unshieldable attack that costs moon gauge, but you don't get a combo from it, you just knock down with it. Like, what if that was the new bunker or something like that? I think that'd be interesting. Just to kind of like, okay, I don't want to play RPS, and I'm willing to pay meter to not play RPS with you. Furthermore, I think Moon Drive activation minimum should be raised from 50% to 100%. That way it would feel more special. It's already super powerful, but it happens so often. It would encourage more meter management and make the drive function feel more special in matches, rather than like having these games where there's like 10, 11, 12 activations back and forth, you know? For such a strong option, I think it would do a lot to make the system mechanics tied together in a more interesting way and properly reward risk reward and meter management within the context of the game. I just think it's a bit, all of it together is a bit too much right now, you know? The other chief complaint I have right now is with the auto combo system. This has been one of the hardest things for me to adjust to with the game. Just trying to break muscle memory. While I appreciate what they did, it's just a bit too intrusive, I think. Every button auto combos. Because every button auto combos, it works out in a way to where pressure and offense, even with Melty Blood's unique like reverse beat system, right? It feels like they're a bit more trim compared to what they used to be as a result of the auto combo. It's weird. It's difficult to articulate. Even like being able to whiff cancel into them. I think maybe it's just me, I'm not sure, but I think this is another iteration of the modern auto combo trend kind of being like too obnoxious in the gameplay. You know, looking ahead, I don't want a season pass. I don't want season. So even right now, as we speak, they found made unblockables. Like Kohaku has an unblock. Like it's this game. Coma has an unblockable now. The game's already being busted wide open. This is about what I expected. But even despite that, I don't really want season pass model. I think I would rather the update pass model, you know, just in my opinion, or even something that's kind of an in-between the new version model and a season pass. You know, what if like it's just a yearly season pass, but it has the function of a new version model? You know, think like what Street Fighter 5 did with like Arcade Edition or something like that. You know, the season pass model for fighting games, to me, I think is played out and it's failed. I think it's too cyclical. It's not hype. It makes me lose interest, if anything, because I guess patch culture is kind of inherently connected to that. Something that I really appreciated about the marketing phase for this game was that they never shoved day one DLC down my throat before the game was even out. That said, I am curious to see what the future holds for this game. Something about French bred titles is that the games really change and become more interesting generally as time and versions go on. And so far, for this being a first version, I think the game feels like it has a solid base. Anyway, I just wanted to say congratulations to Team French Bread on their successful launch. We really appreciate the quick fixes to the game over the course of the weekend. And for the fixes that still need to be done, we will be talking to you guys, and I encourage everybody out there, if you've had issues, make sure you guys hit them up at these email addresses that they're showing and let them know about the issues you've been having. It's been fine on my end. It's been fine on my end, quote unquote. I know some people get mad when you hear that, but I want everybody to be able to have a good experience with this game, because so far for me, it's been a lot of fun. I said this on Twitter, and a lot of people took it in a weird direction. I don't know, but I think it says a lot about how much larger fighting games in general have scaled when a supposed niche IP like Melty Blood, within a niche genre like fighting games, can generate the sales and engagement that Melty, or Strive even, have had this year. That's crazy. If you would have told me 15 years ago that a new Melty would become the top-selling game on Steam its release weekend, for a moment it would have been the top-selling game, I'd have called you a stone-cold idiot. You know, for people who have been playing these games for years, it's a genuine shock to see so many people giving the series a chance and being a part of it in this way. It makes me really hopeful to see how much higher other IPs, other series, other devs that are maybe perceived as more mainstream, how much higher they can push the ceiling and push the envelope for the genre for the future. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll holler at y'all later.